Hi everybody, can you hear me? So I'm just setting up the Facebook Live for those of you watching on Facebook. But until then, tell me where you are right now, and we'll get started in a few minutes. Where is everybody today? I am in New York. Hope everybody's well. Are you ready to go over? We're going to go over 5 keys to unlocking, building yourself up during this cocooning time. So I'm really excited about it. Can you hear me okay also, by the way? Just give me a hands raise if you could hear me fine. Can you hear me okay? We're going to get started in a moment. And so tell me where are you watching this from in the world? And also, if you have one word, my friend Chris Pan, who founded My Intent, I have this bracelet on right here. One word, what is the virtue you want most right now? Nick, how are you doing? Waiting for live video. All right, if you're just joining us, and we're brand new friends, my name is Jim Kwik of Kwik Learning, and I'm going to show you in this session how to learn more quickly. So that's what we're doing. Just setting up. I have like 3 cameras here, so you just have to forgive me for a moment as we go. Patience. Patience is a great word because a lot of people assume patience is something where it's passive, but patience is anything but passive. Patience is your ability to maintain a good attitude while you are still working daily. So let me see if this works here. All right, everybody, we're going to get started in a moment. And what is one thing you're looking to get out of this conversation here today? One thing you're going to get out of this conversation today. What would make it valuable? Also, grab notes. Stroke of Genius, thanks for joining us, buddies. Okay. How many books have I read in my life? For about 4 years, I read a book a day. Not scanned, but really read a book a day. Just switching over my camera here so everyone could see. Okay. We're going to get started 1 minute. Now would be a good time to share that little airplane. Button. There we go. That little airplane button will allow you to share it, and I recommend you share this video because we're going to talk about some really awesome things. Let me just make sure my audio is good. Can you all hear me again? Okay, let's get started here. Okay, so in this session, I'm going to share with you the 5 things that I'm working with my clients so that they can, let me test this, so you can get the most out of your cocooning time. And I use the word cocooning very specifically. So what I want you to do is take notes, and we'll get started. Let me just close this. Appreciate your patience. Patience is keeping a great attitude while you still work. Okay. Perfect. Okay, let's begin. All right, let's make sure you're hydrated. I'm going to do about 30 minutes today, and we're going to go live on Facebook also as well. So here we go. Tech is running. All right. Now, how are you feeling, everybody? Just in general, how are you feeling right now? How are you feeling in the moment? What do you need most right now in your life? What do you need most right now in your life? Okay, here we go. I'm going to share this. Okay. All right, here we go. All right, okay, ready? 5 things that you could do to be able to do while you're cocooning. All right, wonderful. So here we go. Turn this off. We got the volume. Tech is running. 5 things that you could do to... Okay. Appreciate your patience. All right, let's do this. Okay. Now I'm going to be looking all around here because the... Let me see how I look on here. Because this is... I have 4 cameras here. We're doing this a live podcast episode. So never done before, a live podcast episode. I want to thank you for joining me for this. If we're brand new friends, and I apologize if I don't look exactly right at you. My name is Jim Kwik of Kwik Learning, and I'm here as always to be able to help you to learn faster. Wow, okay. This is interesting. The topic we're going to talk about are 5 limitless practices while cocooning. And this is a live podcast for those of you who are podcast watchers and listeners. We're on iTunes. We're really proud of this show. It's only 15 minutes, 20 minutes long. This might go a little bit longer. It is, we have over 3,000 5-star reviews, so thank you very much for that. Thank you also for everybody for the support for the book. Right now, I want you to focus for the next 30 minutes. The next 30 minutes, I want your complete focus, just because in a world full of distractions, how do you maintain the things that really matter and not be distracted, maintain your focus in a world full of rings and pings and dings? I'm going to show you how to do that here. I think I'm properly framed. Great. I encourage you to take notes because I'm going to go through rapid fire tips for all of you. Also, I'm going to give you resources, links that could support you while you're cocooning. I'm using that word very specifically. Also, when you're here, obviously share this if you'd like. This is the live we're doing. Maybe tag people who should be watching this at home also as well. Now, I mentioned before I wear this bracelet. It's My Intent by myintent.org. They're really great. They ask you what's one virtue you want more of. And for my theme today, it's about transformation. This session is about transcending. It's about ending the trance, ending this trance, this mass hypnosis of fear, of that we're not enough, and how you could be able to upgrade yourself to be able to better deal with threats on the outside. How do you be productive at home? How do you maintain your focus? How do you maintain your flow? And if the mind has an algorithm, right? And so it's kind of like Instagram and Facebook. It's like if you go through Instagram and you like a lot of, and you engage with a lot of videos that have, let's say, cats on them, it's going to start showing you more posts of cats in them. And my concern here is while there's a physical pandemic, there's also a virus of the mind, where if we always look at what's fearful and we tend to indulge in that, that's like us liking and commenting on those cat videos. Then all of a sudden, the brain primarily is a deletion device. The brain primarily is a deletion device and is trying to keep information out. Because at any given time, there's a billion stimuli that you could pay attention to, that you could focus on, but you can't because you go insane. So what do? You filter out most of it out. So what do you pay attention to? That algorithm I was saying about social media, if you just like cat videos and cat posts, they'll start showing you more cat posts. Well, the same thing happens when you just look at the stuff that's threatening you, right? And your brain gets hijacked, your amygdala, for your survival, and it has to look at what's threatening you because they could hurt you, and so you have to pay attention. The media knows this because if it bleeds, it leads, right? That phrase. And so they know you're going to tune into it. The way I look at it, it's important to know what's going on, but it's important also to have self-control and not indulge in it, because if you just focus on the fear, you're just going to start seeing more and more things. And when you're always looking at the dark, you miss the blessings in your life. You miss the gratitude. You miss the opportunities in your life. So this conversation is not political. It's giving you 5 solid resources, what I'm using with my coaching clients right now to focus on, because you have to control your focus. Now, as you hydrate, because I've been doing a lot of speaking, interesting time to launch our book, because in the book I talk, and these interviews talk about butterflies. And the metaphor I'm going to use, my word here today is transformation. And I want you to think about, like right now, you're in a cocoon. You literally are in a cocoon, right? We are stuck in our homes. So how do you deal with productivity? How do you help your kids? What are you doing with your team? How do you stay engaged? And so the butterfly is the metaphor that is commonly used because the butterfly has become one of the most profound symbols for change, for self-transformation. It's this journey of metamorphosis, going from a caterpillar to a winged beauty that has this incredible superpower of flight and has this perspective. And it speaks to our own ability to move through life cycles, right? Different life cycles. And right now we feel like we're in a cocoon. And there's a story about a boy and a butterfly. A boy is playing in his backyard, and he sees a caterpillar. And he asks his mother if he could take and take care of the caterpillar. And the mom says, yes, as long as you feed it and take care of it, you could have it. And so the mother gives the boy a jar, and the boy puts the caterpillar in there, fills it full of leaves, and so it can eat. And it puts a little tree branch inside the jar also as well. And true to form, caterpillar just eats and eats and eats. And then one day the caterpillar climbs up the tree this little branch inside the jar, and it does something very interesting to the boy. It starts to spin a cocoon, right, around itself. And obviously the boy's never seen this before and is really engaged and interested and curious, very fascinated with the actual process. And over time, he just waits and waits and just watches and waits and waits. And one day, he sees emerge from the cocoon like a little crack, just a little crack. And the boy could see the caterpillar struggling, trying to get through that crack. And it's waiting, it's hoping to see this butterfly emerge. And nothing, it just waits, and it's struggling. And the boy is a little bit impatient, doesn't want to see the poor caterpillar struggle, so he runs into the house and he grabs scissors and he cuts open that hole. And as soon as he starts to cut open the hole, the caterpillar comes out, and it's kind of a butterfly, but not really. It has a very swollen body and very shriveled up wings. And the boy is not understanding, but watches patiently. And after time, he feels like the wings will get strong and it'll eventually, start to fly. And it doesn't at all. It stays with a very swollen body and very shriveled up wings. And he takes it to his mother and he's crying, not understanding why it didn't turn into a full-fledged butterfly. And the mother explains to the boy that by cutting the hole, what it didn't allow the butterfly to do was struggle. That the struggle actually, by trying to fit through that tiny little hole, it actually, physiologically, what it does is it pushes that swelling from the body into those fluids, into the wings, and nourishes the wings so the wings can grow. And my message for everybody is like, sometimes we're in this physical cocoon, we're in our homes, and we have these fears, we have these struggles, right? But you've learned through your life that with struggles equals strength, right? As I navigate through all three of these cameras here, with struggles come a strength, and the metaphor it expands in our life. With challenge comes change, and in the cocoon, while we're in this cocoon of our home, and I'm going to get to the 5 keys to really unleash and become this butterfly while we're cocooning. In this cocoon, we ruminate, right? We have these thoughts, we have these fears, we have these doubts, we have regrets, we have loneliness, we have these limiting things that are limiting us, holding us back, our ability to change, our ability to transform, our ability to progress, our ability to grow. And it's more apparent when we're alone, right? When we're alone with our own thoughts. And some of these thoughts, they no longer could serve you, right? The same level of thinking that's gotten you to where you are is not going to get you to where you need to go. And we're in a world that's highly disruptive, right? Everything is changing. Literally, over the past few weeks has been disrupted. Whole industries and businesses and how we work and how we learn. And some of these things are what I identify in my book, Limitless, are lies. A lie for me stands for a limited idea entertain. A limited idea entertain. It's not necessarily true, but it's an idea we give energy to. And we feel like it's true, but is it really true? And these lies imprison us in a place that is often familiar. And what's familiar is what's comfortable. It keeps us clinging to where we are, to how we want to be able to see the world. Not necessarily how it really is, but how we like it. And that comfort is a challenge, because while we're clinging to things that we rather it be, or things that it was in the past, then we're not able to progress, we're not able to continue the cycle, right? And a comfort zone is a nice place to visit, but not much grows there. And so let's get into the 5 keys really fast. If you're just joining us, my name is Jim Kwik. I'm host of the Kwik Brain podcast, author of the upcoming book called Limitless. Right now, I am going to share with you 5 C's, the 5 C's to focus on while you are cocooning. And so when we come out of this, whenever that is, weeks or months or however long, that you come out faster, you come out stronger, you come out smarter, and despite what's going on in the environment, because you can't always control what goes on in the external environment, but you can always control what's going on in the internal environment. When I open up my book, I open up with a quote from a French philosopher, and in it says this: "Life is the C between the B and the D." Life is the C between the B and the D. And you're thinking, Jim, what does that mean? You're speaking in tongues, you're speaking in code, what does that mean? The B stands for birth. What does the D stand for? Tell me. Let's make this a little interactive. The D stands for death, right? So what's C? What's life? Life is choice. Our lives are a series, the sum total of all the choices and decisions we've made up to this point of our life. Let me try to raise this a little bit so I don't know if it'll stay there. Our life is the sum total of all the decisions we've made to this point, and we can always control 3 forces. We can control our mindset, we can control our motivation, we can control our methods, like what we're going to do. And that's what the book is about. It's a framework. Limitless is not about being perfect. Limitless is about progressing beyond what you currently feel is possible. And unlimiting, it's a word that I coined, the process of removing limits in your life, in your mindset, in your drive, in your motivation, and also upgrading your methodology. More people upgrade their phones and their apps on their phones more than they upgrade the most important thing that controls everything, the most important technology, which is your mind. Okay, so knowing that you have a choice, let me give you the 5 keys for when you're cocooning. And again, this is a live podcast episode, something that we're experimenting right now because I can't go to studio. The first C stands for clarity. When you are at home and you are cocooning, I want you to spend this time, and I'm just positioning the camera here, in self-reflection. What an amazing time to be able to build self-awareness. And don't distract yourself in this space of solitude. You find clarity, and clarity has so much power in it. So how do you reflect on this when you're alone? These are the questions that you ask. At any given time, you have 50 to 70,000 thoughts a day. Many of those thoughts are questions. And those questions activate part of your brain called the reticular activating system. And that determines what you focus on. Right now, you're deleting most information. But what gets in are the things you have questions about. So questions you could think about while you're in this cocoon ready to emerge. Many people feel like they're struggling right now in areas of their life in terms of their security. They don't know what tomorrow is going to look like, how to be able to provide for their kids, how they're going to continue to be relevant. And so questions you could think about right now are questions like, what's most important to me in my life? What's most important to me in my life? And are my actions aligned with those values, right? Things like, how do you want to be remembered? Like this book, you don't want to know where the genesis of this book came from? After 28 years of not writing a book and getting book offers, a couple years back, I was almost in a really bad car accident, life or death. I don't know if anyone's had a near-death experience. Has anyone had a near-death experience before? And so clarity is the first C, yes. It forces you to have a different perspective on life. And many people actually talk about near death. Most people, I feel like, suffer from a near life experience. That if you feel burnt out, it's not because you're doing too much, it's because you're doing too little of the things that make you feel alive. So let that kind of sink in a little bit. But when I had this near death experience, it made me think about these questions. What's most important to me in my life? How do I want to be remembered? Think about legacy, right? What are they going to say in your obituary or at your funeral if you're going to begin with the end in mind, like Dr. Stephen Covey talks about in 7 Habits of Highly Effective People? I always tell people the most important thing, and I would write this down, the most important thing is to keep the most important thing the most important thing. The most important thing is to keep the most important thing the most important thing. So this is a wonderful opportunity to use this space of solitude to find clarity in your life. So that's the first C. So begin by asking these questions. What's most important to me in my life? What's most important to me in my relationship? What's most important to me in my career? How do I feel fulfilled? The second C that I would focus on besides that is the C of care. Right? You've all heard and you've seen people post on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter that self-care is not selfish. So while we hear a lot about physical hygiene, washing your hands and social distancing, we know that there's also, as important, mental hygiene. And so when we're talking about fear, right, this anxiety, we know that if you're just focused on that and you indulge in that all the time, chronic stress, chronic anxiety, it shrinks your brain and it weakens your immune system, which decreases your ability to fight off illnesses, which makes you more vulnerable to the common colds, to flus, other viruses. Anyone who's done any study in psychoneuroimmunology, that thoughts become things. Right? And so we want to manage our care. So, we've done episodes. You can search on YouTube or on Facebook or on our podcast app, Jim Kwik Morning Routine. This is my self-care routine. Remember, as you've heard, if you want to win the day, you have to win that first hour of the day. So things that actually empower you, the 10 things I talk about that give you energy, right? The best brain foods that we talk about on our podcast all the time, where I teach you how to memorize them. There's all these videos of people when they're washing their hands and they're reciting the 10 brain foods, right? They're going through avocados and blueberries, olive oil, and they're talking about broccoli and green leafy vegetables and turmeric and walnuts and dark chocolate, right? They're doing that in 20 seconds, memorizing forwards and backwards, right? But while we're doing this, make sure you take care of yourself, because self-care is not selfish. And part of it comes down to self-love, right? You falling in love with the person in the mirror who's been through so much but is still standing, right? And making sure that part of self-care and mental hygiene is when you say yes to something or somebody, you're not saying no to yourself, right? And part of it is just turning off the news, because I think it's important to know what's going on in the world, and also putting your energy into things that you could control. You might not be able to control all the economics of your country, but you could control your personal economics. You can't control necessarily the healthcare system, but you could control and influence the health of yourself and your family and your loved ones, right? So we have the onus on us. So mental hygiene, we're talking about this algorithm again, that if you just like Facebook or Instagram, if you just like certain things, it'll start showing you more of those things. When you start focusing on fear, it's just going to show you fear all the time. And you're going to ignore, you're not going to shine a spotlight on what you can be grateful for, on all the blessings in your life, on all the opportunities that you have. So you don't want to get myopic, because that's what fear does. It narrows our focus and doesn't give us full options. A third C, so you have first clarity, 5 C's. Number 2, care. Number 3, contribution. All right. So just what does contribution mean to you? I know we're live on Facebook here. We're live on Instagram. Because I believe the antidote to fear is service. The antidote to fear is focusing on others. Talk about butterflies. Many people know I'm an introvert. Growing up with a boy with a broken brain, when people see me do these feats on stage, memorize 100 names, numbers, words, backwards, I do this not to impress you. I do this to express to you what's possible, because the truth is you could do this too. We just weren't taught. We weren't taught capabilities. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. And so what is really possible, and I became very painfully shy, but how I get on stages and how I get on, in front of 200,000 people live every single year in live audiences is I feel the butterflies, but I focus on giving and contribution. So in what ways can you creatively contribute right now? Checking in with your neighbors, checking in with especially the elderly. Many people know that I lost my grandmother, my primary caregiver, to Alzheimer's when I was going through all these learning challenges and difficulty processing issues. She was taking care of me because my mother and father were working, and I saw her deteriorate her mind. And when you lose your memory, you lose a lot of your humanity. So how can you also take care of the caregivers? Because many of you are caregivers. And I do a lot of training at places like the Cleveland Clinic, the Center for Brain Health Training. Not only their doctors and their patients, but the caregivers that are always giving and giving and giving. So you have to make sure you fill up the well also. What else can you contribute? You can contribute by donating. You can to worthy causes. You contribute also with the language that you choose to use when you're talking about this. Not to call this virus or any virus by a country or by a city name, because certain words, certain language may have a negative meaning for people. Words affect the brain. Language affects the brain. And, negative meaning for people, it could fuel and stigmatizing attitudes and behaviors in people. Another way you could contribute is not only the words that you choose to use and donating your time, your talent, your treasure, and checking in with people that, your neighbors that might need assistance, is also teaching. We live in an environment right now where classrooms aren't limited to 4 walls. Right now, we are projecting this, people are watching this from, as we've seen in the beginning, all these different countries. How amazing is this? So how can you go online on these kind of lives using technology like YouTube and and Instagram and Facebook, that's absolutely free. I mean, what an exciting time to also be alive. And so, for us, how we contribute are things like this conversation. We're also my team is putting together 2 live programs right now. We're doing 2 programs, one for children and one for adults, because children, with all the schools closed, we're going to do a program next week on remote, learning, on homeschooling. And I'm going to teach, because my personal thing is school taught us what to learn, but they didn't teach us necessarily how to learn. So next week at about this time, we will announce it, and I will do a program for your children. And this could be grade school, high school, middle school children who want to level up their learning during this time. So they could come out on the other side of this thing smarter. They could come out stronger. They could come out more prepared for a world that, we have to adapt. The most important skill to master in the 21st century, you've heard me say it, are the skills that we teach in this book. The skills on meta learning. Meta learning is learning how to learn. Like metamorphosis is this change above change. Metaphor is something about something. Meta learning is learning how to learn. And so next week at about this time, and if you're on our mailing list, you could get it at quickbrain.com. If you enter your email at jimquick.com or quickbrain.com, we'll send out an email notification when we're going to do this program for students. It'll be absolutely free. We'll go about 60 minutes, and I'm going to teach them something. They're taught what to read, what to think, what to focus on, what to learn, what to remember, but not how to learn, how to think, how to remember, how to think, how to focus. Like going to your kids right now and saying focus and study is like going to a kid and saying play the piano when they're never taught a class on how to play the piano. You were never taught a class on how to focus. You were never taught a class on how to study. So that's what we're going to do. And that'll be free. That's a way we're going to contribute. We're also going to do a program over the next couple of weeks for adults, like how to recession-proof the number one wealth-building asset you have, which is your brain. Nobody who's watching this is paid solely for your brute strength. You are compensated for your brain strength. We don't live in an era where it's based on industrial age, agricultural age of muscle power. It is purely based on mind power, your ability to learn. The faster you could learn, the faster you could earn. And with this kind of rapid change that's just going to continue, you have to be able to learn new industries, learn new jobs, learn new information, and rapidly apply. You have to be able to think and solve problems, make good decisions. Because even if this crisis wasn't going on right now, there's huge shifts in the economy where jobs are going automated, jobs are becoming to artificial intelligence. So what makes us human? I believe the only unlimited resource on planet Earth is human capital, human ingenuity. There is no limit to human potential. There is no limit to your imagination. There's no limit to your creativity. There's no limit to your determination, your persistence. And so these are the kind of things that we are going to do enhance, right? And so how can you contribute in a unique way? So we'll also, besides doing a program just for students, and we teach an extensive 30-day program at quickstudent.com where it's every single day, but there are certain fundamentals that if kids knew, I wish I knew these back in school, to help them to be able to focus and concentrate and get better grades in less time. For adults, we have to retool. So how do you recession-proof your brain? And so I'll do a session on that also as well. Make sure you text me if you text that, put the button, or there's a text button in my Instagram profile. My phone number, you can write it down as you're taking notes, is 310-299-9362. That number is in my social media. You can hit the text button and say hi. That's all you have to do, and I'll send you my contact details right away. Okay, so how else can you donate and be able to add value and contribute? Because again, service is the antidote to fear. Gratitude is the antidote to fear. You can't feel grateful and still feel fear at the same time. So going back to gratitude, count all the things you have in your life that money can't buy. Make a list. If you want to feel wealthy, count all the things you have in your life that money can't buy. If you want to feel grateful, especially in time of duress, like What if the only things in your life you had tomorrow were things you expressed gratitude for today? That's a great thought experiment, because coming from gratitude rewires your brain. We did a whole podcast episode on how gratitude rewires your brain and 4 things you could do instantly to feel appreciation. Remember this: what you appreciate appreciates. Say that out loud. What I appreciate appreciates. It gets better in our life. So that's where we're going to our focus. Now, another thing that you could do, besides having clarity, besides contributing, besides self-care, you also have this thing where you can create. You have so many people, they said, I don't have time for this. Well, now I'm willing to bet you have some time. And so what can you do with this time? What can you create? Because human beings, the future belongs to the creatives. When I talked about jobs going to artificial intelligence and machines and things that are going to be automated, what's not going to be is the creative process. And did you know that in history, there were times when we had to self-isolate, we had to socially distance ourselves, like back that the plague, it created circumstances and for situations for Shakespeare. You've seen this online, right? For his talent really to level up, that distancing allowed him to have some time and some focus. And from there, he created things like King Lear and Macbeth, Antony and Cleopatra. Like, what are you creating during this time? Because it's going to end. Like, eventually we will get past this. We will emerge out of this cocoon. And are you going to be better for it? Or are you going to put your time into binge watching things on television and finishing seasons of, I don't even know what people watch nowadays. Or are you just going to sit there and sulk and eat junk food, right? And do things that are not promoting. And so Sir Isaac Newton did that, right? When he was in his 20s, there was a great plague in London, and he had to be removed from Cambridge University, and he was forced to go home. And that's where the story of him sitting underneath the apple tree and being hit in the head with an apple made him come up with his deeper understandings and theories of gravity and motion. And he constructed the first reflecting telescope and all this information. He invented this, some of the basis for calculus. I mean, that's amazing. And he looks back at these as like years of wonder. And I hope you look back at today, 6 months from now, 6 years from now, whenever, saying like, hey, this is a time I made a choice. Life is the C between the B and the D. I made a decision to be able to move forward, right? And he had time to brainstorm. He had given time, white space to experiment. And who knows, maybe somebody watching and listening to this right now is going to change the world for the better because they had this cocooning time to incubate, right? Time to create. And this could be the most productive, period of your life. So what can you write? What videos can you make? What art can you create? How can you fully express yourself? I think we're all on this journey of metamorphosis together. You're not alone. If you're watching me, I know where like attracts like, and we're on this adventure to realize, to reveal our fullest potential, right? So how are you going to invest your 86,400 seconds you have in a day? Because the truth is, not everybody has equal external resources. We don't have equal money or income. We don't have equal networks and contacts. We don't have equal levels of education, but we all have 24 hours a day. And do this thought experiment, which you've seen and you've heard before, but just as a coach reminding you, if every morning you woke up with $86,000, $86,400, and you, at the end of the day, it just disappeared, how are you going to invest that? And that's our time. Whatever you invest, you get to keep. Whatever you don't, you lose, right? So another great question you could ask yourself, what's the best moment what's the best use of this moment right now? So just think about that. Meditate for a second. How would you like to be able to use this? How are you going to emerge out as a butterfly, or that, where things are done and you come out shriveled wings, or you have strength, you have wisdom, you have clarity. And finally, the 5th C that I'll give you, and then we could go through many C's, but this is a short show. The 5th C that I'll give you right now are capabilities. I believe you should not downgrade your dreams. Do not downgrade your goals. Do not use what's going on as as a limitation for you. Get creative here. Don't downgrade your dreams to fit today's current situation. Upgrade your capabilities, upgrade your determination, upgrade your persistence, upgrade your discipline, upgrade your skills. Let's get into some skill development, skill acquisition. And I think everybody should you have your to-do list, and it just grows and grows and grows if you're like everybody else. But what's on your to-learn list? What do you want to learn? How do you want to be able to level up in your learning? A lot of people, I'm so happy about this because we get tagged. We have this incredible speed reading program, students in 195 countries, and we get tagged every single day with hashtag 1 book a week. 52 books a year, because we teach people how to read 2 or 3 times faster, right? With better comprehension. I think if there's one skill to master in the 21st century, it's your ability to learn how to learn. Because if there was a genie right now who could grant you any one wish, what would you wish for, right? You would wish for millions of wishes, infinite wishes. But if I was your learning genie and I could grant you any one wish to master any one subject, any one skill, what would you wish for? You would wish for what subject? What skill? The ability to learn. If you could learn how to learn, you could grant all of your wishes. You could apply that towards new marketing, new management, Mandarin, music, martial arts, anything you need to pivot to, right? Because even when I do these student programs, the average student's going to have anywhere from 8 to 14 different careers in their lifetime, because the world is changing so fast. And the only thing you could count on, the only thing that is consistent is this change, right? So right now, what are you reading right now? Leaders are readers. If somebody has decades of experience and they put it into a book, that's amazing. You could read that book in a few days. You could download decades into days. And that saves you the most precious thing, which is your time, which is your attention. Your time is the one thing you can't get back, which is why here I appreciate your time and attention, because time and attention, that's your life. And when you give something to something, that you're giving part of your life when you give your time to something. Right now we have 5 programs that we have published, and there again we have students in 195 countries. And so what are we doing right now is a lot of our programs are professional development programs that are $400, $500, $1,000 or more. Right now we're offering all our programs for less than $100. Less than $100, right? Because it's a business, but we're also on a mission, right? It's no brain left behind. And if you go actually to kwikbrain.com/butterfly, that's kind of a little plug for you. If you want to go ongoing training with me and join one of our programs, you go to kwikbrain.com, kwikbrain.com/butterfly, and join one of those programs for less than $100. And so I would love to be your coach in speed reading, your coach in memory development, your coach for your students, for your kids, your coach in your focus, your concentration. So that's available. But those are different ways you can upgrade your capabilities. Now, finally, because this is Kwik Brain, and we want to keep this literally more on the quick side, if you will. Finally, what I want to talk about is how do you become limitless? There are these limitations that are out there, and some of them are lies. They're limited ideas entertained, and some of them are reality. But some of this stuff you have to admit is a little BS. They're your belief systems. And so if you want to continue your education, you want to go forward. Also, by the way, anyone who purchased our programs before this at a higher rate, I'm going to grandfather you into something very special when the book comes out. It's going to be very, very unique. We've been holding this building on this for the past 2 years. I'm extremely excited. So we are going to gift you that, because your success is our success. But in this book, I outline specifically a 10-day program on how to be limitless in dark and difficult times. When you are most challenged, how do you manage your mindset? How do you maintain your focus and your productivity on things that matter? And when you go to limitlessbook.com, all right, and I'm saying this, I'm giving my author proceeds for this pre-launch to charity. Many of you know, if you follow me on social media, I have plaques behind me, we build schools everywhere from Guatemala to Kenya, full schools, provide health care, provide clean water to young girls and young boys who need an education. We also, because I lost my grandmother to Alzheimer's, donated a significant treasure to Alzheimer's research. Because it's not just about making $1, it's about making a difference. I believe you learn so you could earn, so you could return. So when you go to limitlessbook.com, I'm going to gift you a 10-day program that I just made. It's called Quick Start. It's a 10-day program where I walk you through the fundamentals. For those of you who asked for Jim, is this book in audio form? This is your audio form right now, and you get it for free. It's me walking you through some of the highlights, immediate access at limitlessbook.com. So on Amazon, I think they sell the book for like $18, but you don't even have to wait. You get this program. You know what my mission is? I want this book, because I had 20 conferences cancel over the month where I was speaking, keynoting this. That's why I'm talking. One of the reasons that I ask new questions, how I get value to all of you because of it. And so we're doing this unconference right now. I created this book and I want this book to be the most read book, not the most bought book. You have to understand that buying a book is a different skill set than reading a book. Many people buy a book and it sits on their shelf and it becomes shelf help, not real self-help. But when you get this 10-day program, I'm going to coach you on how to read this book, how to remember this book. If you've ever read a page in a book and forgotten what you just read and reread it and you reread it again, you still know what you just read, I'm going to teach you how to overcome those challenges in this 10-day program that you get instantly. So when the book shows up at your door, you're going to go through it remarkably. And that's not it. When you get this book during the pre-order period, I'm also going to do a one time a week. We're going to create a Limitless book club. So as soon as the book releases, this book is broken down. It's actually 3 books in one. It's actually 3 books in one. And so mastering your mindset, unleashing your motivation, and upgrading your methods. So it's actually 4 sections of the book. We are going to spend 1 week together on Zoom, everyone who bought the book, and we're going to go through it together. You are going to read through the book, and every single week I'm going to go through and we're going to have a chat about that section, 1 a week for 4 weeks. So you will finish this book. This might not be the most purchased book of 2020, but I guarantee you this will be the most read book, because fundamentally I started my career as a reading teacher, and knowledge is not power. Knowledge is potential power at best. So you're going to get that automatically. All you have to do is go to limitlessbook.com, and if we have you on file, we'll send you an invite for that book club, a Limitless book club, where once a week for 4 weeks, we go through and dissect this book and figure out how to best apply it for your life. I'm also including in this book 2 bonus chapters. All right, there's going to be a bonus chapter on limitless for businesses. How do you create limitless cultures? Because as you've heard, culture trumps strategy. And so how do you create a learning environment where your team is limitless? They believe everything is possible, that they are capable of it. They have a surge in sustainable motivation, and they know exactly what to do. I'm also creating a bonus chapter with all my free time here right now on limitless for kids. So when you purchase this book, you'll also get those bonus chapters. They're not in the book, but I'll send them to you, specifically how to use these practices with your children, all right? limitlessbook.com. And that's the book club we're going to do. And I want to make this book the most finished book of 2020. People might buy other books more, but this will be the most finished book with this 10-day program and this Limitless book club. Let me sum up with this. While the beauty is in the butterfly, the growth happens in the cocoon. Let me look at all the cameras here. While the beauty is in the butterfly, the growth happens in the cocoon. That sometimes you have to fight through some of the worst days to earn the best days of your life. When there is nothing and you feel like there's lack, when there's nothing, there's the possibility of anything and everything. And just when the caterpillar thought the world was over, right? You think about being stuck in that cocoon, it became a butterfly. And the other thing that we could do with this metaphor is the butterfly effect, right? You've heard people talk about the butterfly effect. The butterfly is this concept that small events can have large, global, widespread consequences. Now, you've seen that in a negative way, right? With the pandemic and the virus of the mind, but a butterfly flapping its wings here in New York City could create a tsunami across the world because that's the butterfly effect, a tsunami of change, a tsunami of transformation. So what happens here when we're talking about choices? The choices that you're making every single day have an effect on the whole world. We have proven, right, that we are all connected. I did a talk recently at just down the street here at the United Nations, and it was on July 20th. It was the 50th anniversary of the astronauts landing on the moon. And one of the other speakers was talking about, a scientist was talking about or a researcher was talking about the overview effect. The overview effect is this spiritual, emotional experience that most all astronauts feel when they're out of Earth's orbit looking back at the Earth, and there are no borders. There are no boundaries, right? Limitless is about redrawing and redefining the boundaries and borders that we put on our life in terms of what we're worth, in terms of what we're capable of what we believe is possible. So this overview effect says we're all connected. So the butterfly effect says that you could flap your wings today and create change in your family, create change in your community, because who's watching you right now? Who's watching you right now? I believe the life you live are the lessons that you teach others. The life you live are the lessons that you're constantly teaching other people. And when this butterfly emerges, I just want you to just meditate on this. When this butterfly emerges and you emerge outside this cocoon, you're either going to be smarter or you're going to be stronger or you're not. And here's the thing, it all comes down to a choice. One little choice. One step in another direction completely changes your destination, right? One step in another direction completely change your destination or your destiny. So what are the choices you're making right now? So months from now, you could look back and you could feel proud of who you are. Not only having a to-do list, but who you became in the process. Because often these challenges or these goals, they're outside prompts and triggers for us to remind us what's most important and where can we improve. It shows us our vulnerabilities. It also shows us our character. It shows us, when people are under strain and duress, how they treat other people, right? It's that metaphor of an orange juice. You squeeze an orange and what comes out? Orange juice, because that's what's on inside. And so who are you being on a daily basis? Have your to-do list, have your to-learn list, but also have your to-be list. What are 3 things you're going to be today for your children? What are 3 things you're going to be today for your team? What are 3 things you're going to be mostly for yourself? Because when you see a butterfly and you emerge, and I have this thing where I just this affinity for animals. I see like a butterfly up in the tree, and it's soared, it flaps its wings, and you wonder why it's so calm and confident in the midst of whatever's going on in the environment. It's not because it puts its trust in that tree branch. The butterfly is calm and confident because it puts its trust in its own wings. And my message for you, if you're still watching this, is be yourself, right? Trust yourself, love yourself, and then really get to know yourself again. Fall in love again with the person in the mirror who's been through so much and is still standing. And you know what a great way of creating the butterfly effect is? Kindness. Right? That ripples forever, right? It doesn't stop. And kindness is free. So sprinkle that stuff everywhere. And so life is like a cocoon, right? Life is like a cocoon. That if cocoon is broken by an outside force, like this little boy, then life kind of ends. But if it's broken by an inside force, life begins. Great things begin on the inside, and you have greatness inside of you. You have genius inside of you. And I would encourage you to look at these 5 C's, whether it's clarity, whether it's care. Where do you need to put attention to? Whether it's your own creativity, whether it's your contribution, whether it's your capabilities. In what area today, right now, can you put some focus? Where can you put some attention and focus? Because that's your reality. I want to remind you that the biggest lesson I believe in life is that we are responsible. We are responsible for our own lives. Our environment or the other people's expectations might have shaped who we are right now, but now is the time to be a thermostat, not a thermometer. A thermometer just reacts to the environment, right? It just reacts to what's going on in the world. And that's okay. You can know what's going on in the world, but a thermostat doesn't do that. A thermostat gauges the environment, it assesses the environment, and then the thermostat sets a goal, a vision, a temperature and the environment changes. And this is the time for real leadership right now. People are hungry. Another C could be community, right? People are hungry for certainty. They're hungry for a sense of connection. In what ways can you add to that value? Can you give people their confidence back? That's what I feel like this book is. When you gift this book to somebody or gift this book to yourself, you're giving them a reminder that you are in control, you have your power. Most of our limits are learned, and that's the good news because they could be unlearned. This is Jim Kwik, and we're at the top of the hour. I just want to thank you for watching and listening to this episode. Because I grew up labeled by one of my teachers, the boy with the broken brain, that our mission, our team, is all about building better, brighter brains. The reason why I wear brains on my shirt all the time, or I point to my brain, is to remind you what you see, you take care of. You see your hair, you take care of your hair. You see your skin, you take care of your skin. You see your teeth, you brush your teeth, right? You see your clothes, you take care of your clothes. But we don't see the most magnificent thing, the most amazing technology device in the whole universe, which is the human brain. Your mind, there are no limits. The sky is not the limit. Your mind is your limit. Your heart is your limit. And so I want to thank you for participating in this episode. Stay in touch. Text me. My number again is in my profile of my Instagram. And I want to remind you that you have greatness inside of you, despite of what's going on. That difficult times right now, they could diminish us. Difficult times can define us, or difficult times can develop us. Ultimately, we decide. I wish you right now security, I wish you safety, I wish you strength, I wish you a reminder of who you really are. And I wish your days be full of lots of life, lots of love, lots of learning. And this is me signing off, your brain coach. We'll do this again, I promise. Please stay in touch and let me know how we could best serve you. Thank you.